And so not recognizing people, I think, is actually a tragedy. You're listening to the How Manufacturers Improve podcast, hosted by me, Kirby Sneen with the Manufacturers Alliance. If you've ever wondered how some manufacturing leaders have become so successful, then you're in the right place. In each episode, we cover the successes and lessons learned of industry leaders, and then I break it all down into actionable insights in our newsletter so that you can use them to make improvements. This episode is all about recognition that retains talent and features some of the key points I've learned from members and just personally practiced over the years. Enjoy. All right. Well, Gabii, excited to have you here at the podcast table. Thanks for making time.
Thank you, Kirby.
So I'm excited about this topic, but for everybody listening to this, what are we covering today?
Recognition that retains talent.
Absolutely. My favorite topic. Of all the continuous improvement stuff we talk about, all the leadership stuff we talk about, this particular topic is my favorite. And actually, it's my favorite because I'll kind of kick things off this way of my, it's kind of become my dad's story. So I'll take everyone back actually to June of 2020. It was a crazy year and we had just completed a 7-year leadership transition. And so I went over to my dad's house and I wrote him a card. And now I don't normally write my dad like a letter. But I wrote him a letter that year. It was a meaningful year and a crazy time. And I wrote him a letter and a Happy Father's Day card, basically.
Okay.
In that card, I said, I cannot wait to make you proud.
That's sweet.
And then he read the card. He looks up at me and he goes, you already have.
Aw.
And like in that moment, I just kind of melted. And so he was my boss, obviously my dad, and that was a crazy year. And we got to spend some time together, although it was limited and distanced and all that stuff. But it was actually in that moment that I was like, there's like a superpower there. You know, he recognized that I already had. And I thought, now everybody listening to this isn't going to have their, family member be their boss. Although there's a lot of family businesses within the Alliance. It just helped reinforce the fact that there's so much meaning behind recognizing someone. And so I know that all managers, regardless of your exact title, have that same potential positive influence on everybody on their team to say something like, you already have, and to recognize their contribution. But I know that like sometimes they'll struggle to say it, what to say, how to say it, why to say it, what's the meaning behind it and all that stuff. But that's the dad story. And that's kind of where this all comes from.
It makes sense. I mean, you talk about it all the time. You always say that this is your favorite topic to talk about. And that coming from that story makes a lot of sense now that this is your favorite topic to talk about because it hits home. It's literally your dad and your boss and like the company's founder. But like also it's your dad. If he's proud of you,
right?
It's just so good to hear that he's proud of you.
Right. And so I've got a handful of questions that we can go back and forth on. Here's the first one that I thought we could kick around. But of all the ways to improve retention, because recognition for what? Recognition to drive engagement, recognition that's so good, it helps you retain talent. Why use recognition? And in my experience, like the big thing that stands out to me is that most people are actually starved for recognition. They don't get it. They are super hungry for it. They may not say that, but they are. And so not recognizing people, I think, is actually a tragedy. And so I'd like to turn it around because I know that recognition, like once it's done right, and we've even felt it here on the team, is that it can be contagious. It's like unique to your fingerprint, right? You can uniquely recognize somebody else. And when you do it well, like if I were to be like, well, hey, Gabii, you did a great job on the podcast. Thanks for getting it out and the edits and everything's super timely. And it's like, real buttoned up. And then you'd be like, well, yeah, Kirby, I appreciate that, but that's the standard. And Monica has helped actually with that. And then Monica was like, oh yeah, well, man, I appreciate the compliment, Gabii, but the reality is that, Jeremy helped with this too. And so it can snowball. Mm-hmm. And like, I've been in meetings and I'm sure you've been in meetings and everybody's been in meetings where it's like, someone says, thank you, but I'm not the only one. And so that recognition can snowball and help create that team that is like recognizing each other and like building up those like genuinely nice and legit things to say about the work that everybody on the team is doing. And it helps build that high performing team where they actually want to stick together. And it becomes part of the glue.
And it's also good to think about too, because it goes from one manager then to peers. And then it goes just from the manager acknowledging one peer doing it to them acknowledging that everyone else helped them do that one specific thing versus just, oh yeah, Kirby notices that we all do our job.
Yep. And the fact that it can be quick and short and sweet and timely and not cost a lot, I think is also like a real big thing. Like I would propose that recognition is the single lowest cost thing that you can do to help improve retention. You just got to do it right.
And the quickest. I mean, if you have somebody do something and you're like, wow, that was so great, you could do it immediately. You don't have to wait to go out and buy a gift card or balloons or something fancy to give to them. You can literally just say, hey, you did a really good job. And they feel that because they go, oh my gosh, somebody actually noticed that I did this. Yep. Thanks.
That happened to me yesterday. I was talking to somebody on the team and I was like, hey, the standard was here and what you did was actually up here. And I could kind of see him melt in the moment. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. Like you did a really good job here.
Especially when it's coming from like your predecessor. Like usually the person before your job has been there for a long time and they're so used to their ways. So to say that you did something better than them, it's just like, okay, not to toot my own horn, but like I did good.
I remember, so a quick funny story. I was at a certification report out and the CEO of a company is there and they've got like 2,500 people, but the CEO is there and he was a big finance guy, finance background. And so they had these certain standards in place and there was an Excel spreadsheet that helped calculate the standards that he created years ago. And there's a new finance leader there saying, well, hey, we've adjusted this and we've improved the standard, right? Like, you're okay with this, right? Like this is the boss's boss stuff.
Yeah.
And here they are saying they've improved it. And he was like, absolutely great job, guys. And they were like, whew.
Yeah.
Like, okay, good. Thank you for the recognition. We were actually kind of nervous.
I would be too. Like they set the standard, they set the bar so high and you're just like, okay, I changed it a little bit. Is that okay? We did good. Okay, we're good.
Okay, so then before we go too much further, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the causes of turnover. I think we can take a page out of the lean practitioner playbook, if you will, or really the school of lean thinking and do some root cause analysis. I always think that's important. Like, hey, once you understand a problem, good problem statement, then let's slow down, figure out what's potentially causing this. And so, some of my thoughts around what causes someone to stay or what causes someone to leave is kind of threefold. And before I get there, there's different types that, I've had a chance to learn about. There's like when someone actually says, hey, like, I'd like to leave. And they're like, yep, it's not a good fit. Like it's voluntary. And then there's involuntary where it's like, well, I'd like to stay. And then it's like, well, but the performance isn't working out. So like, we're going to have to part ways. And then there's the total turnover picture, right? So every manufacturer has voluntary, involuntary, and then total turnover. But then the recent one in the last, like really just 6 to 8 weeks in Midwest manufacturers here is job abandonment. There's been lots and lots of individuals that just haven't showed up and they're just abandoning the jobs altogether. So like I'd pause there, recognize that like average turnover, and there's lots of surveys, there's lots of data out there, but average turnover in like Midwest manufacturing can oscillate between like 20 and 25% in any given year. Look when you put all three of those together. And in my book, like that is just not good. Now I know some HR leaders that I talk to say, well, it's always been that way. And I recognize it. And then I'd still say, but we can't accept it going forward. Like even though it's the average, doesn't mean that you have to be average.
Especially in manufacturing, because they're kind of the cogs that work in everything. If something's not being created, something's not being delivered, something's not being bought. So if you stop manufacturing because you don't have enough workforce, you stop everything else around it.
Right. Got to keep things going.
Literally everything, yeah. It's from like pens, paper, pencils, all of that stuff to like gears that work in cars. like there's such a broad thing of manufacturing that people don't really think about.
Nope.
They just think, oh, it's just put together and now it's on a shelf and I can buy it. But they don't think about all the different people that do each individual part to build a computer to then have you buy it.
Yeah. I can tell you've got kind of the manufacturer's alliance bug, that you've been on the team for, a handful of months.
Close to a year.
Yep, we're almost there.
Yep.
I almost said a year, but I was like, not quite yet.
Not
We're
quite.
working on it.
Yep.
We're approaching it. When
Soon.
we get there, we'll have to celebrate. But it's kind of the manufacturer's alliance bug when you start to notice manufacturers, what they make, and then how you use it. It's kind of a fun thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've hopped around a lot of manufacturers. I was in a medical one. I was in a pad printing one. And then I was in a print shop style manufacturer. So I've been around. So I know manufacturing enough. Yep. But here I've seen so much more.
So causes for turnover. I've got a few friends that are bankers. And it's interesting when I talk to them and they'll take a look at debt loads. So we kind of geek out on this. I get a lot of people are like, are you serious? Who wants to look at a big, large data set of debt loads? But the thing that really stands out to me is that people don't take on debt loads like they used to. So, it's 2026 at the time of this recording. If you rewind a decade, 10 years ago, you would see average debt loads be a lot higher because specifically people that are like 18 to 28, like that's some of the data that we look at. And you would say, what are they buying? Well, look, okay, there was a house, there was a car, maybe two, and there was a kid, maybe two, and there was just more debt that was taken on. And then you compare that same data set and you can look at mean, median, mode, different ways to look at the data. But at the end of the day, the average debt load isn't what it used to be. Now, if you're Dave Ramsey, you're like, yep, that's good, don't take on debt. But it's also just, I think the key point here is that it just makes it easier, I think, for someone to hop from job to job to job because they're not tied down.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck because you don't have any debt to cover every month.
Yeah.
You can just go, okay, it's fine. If I don't have a job for 2 weeks, I can look for another one.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm not trying to say don't take out a mortgage, don't have kids, don't do all this stuff. If you do, great. And if you don't, great. To me, it's just, those were the numbers. Those were the facts. And I think it's a contributing factor.
Very much so. Yes. But I feel like also turnover isn't just thinking about the income. It's also just feeling invisible in your job. If you do a job that's kind of detrimental to the company. Let's say you work on the line. If they removed you from the line would stop. They would have to replace you. But no one appreciates you just because you're doing your job. They all see it as you're doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
And you become invisible after a long time. They go, oh, it's okay. I'm just doing my job. Okay. Why do I want to come in anymore,
Right.
What gives me the purpose to come in and do this if I'm just another cog in the wheel and nobody recognizes me anymore?
Yeah, it's kind of would they even notice if I'm gone?
Yeah, exactly. But their job is detrimental. Without them,
right,
the line would stop and they would have to pull somebody from something else to fix that hole.
Right.
And then it's noticeable because they're gone.
Right.
But until then, they don't care.
It's a small thing, but I always value it when someone puts a face to a name in a position. So as I'll either tour or if we're doing training on site, if they have the tier boards or the team listings, it's nice when you get to see the faces and they take pictures of people.
Yes.
They're real people, they have real lives, real commitments, and they matter.
Very much so.
They absolutely matter. What else are you seeing, or what else do you think is maybe behind it?
I'd probably say lack of growth is another big one. Mm-hmm. And that's not every company. You have larger companies like Microsoft or Google that easily have growth wherever and whenever they want to. But it's the smaller companies. When you go in and they say, yeah, you have opportunity for growth here. But once you're starting there, you're like, where? Where is it? I've been here for 5 years now. I'm still in the same position. Yeah, you might have increased your pay a little bit, but you're still doing the same thing. And you might not want to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. Where do you go? You have to leave. You can't stay if you don't have any opportunity to go from there. Mm-hmm. Especially for the ones who show interest in becoming the lead or the supervisor or anything like that. Yep. They go, okay, I want to go. give me the position, give me the opportunity, open something for me. And if they go, well, we can't, they're going to leave.
Right.
You can't stop them.
Right. And that's fair, especially if they set that expectation of, we're growing, there's growth opportunities. Look, there's a career ladder. And then 3, 4, 5 years, there's nothing. Like, they should know, hey, we didn't keep up our end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Like, they would say that's a flight risk. Well, yeah.
They kind of created that flight risk without even intentionally maybe thinking about it. They liked the person for the job at the time.
Yep.
They thought it'd be a great fit.
Yep.
They said what they needed to get them in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think about the repercussions later.
Right.
And then now here they are, replacing that same person all over again.
Right. Especially when it was like, well, when you started, we were growing, but then 5 years or 3 years later, it's like, oh, shoot, COVID, or, oh, shoot, market conditions just tanked. Launched a product, thought it was going to be successful, didn't hit those milestones. It can be tough.
Oh, yeah.
It can be tough. And then the other thing, too, I noticed is that, like, most people know, like, especially in the front end of your career, like one of the fastest ways to make more money is to actually jump from job to job. Like, not every year, because then I think you do get labeled as a job hopper, and it's like, you got to kind of watch that. But if you hit that 2-3 year mark, and then you go, and then you go, and then you go, like, okay, 6, 7, 8 years, you can get that 10, 12, sometimes 15% pay increase. And you compare that to the alternative of, like, sometimes it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 on the high side. Like, what kind of incentive does that drive? And especially if they're not growing. Because if you're growing, then it's like, oh yeah, everybody's getting a raise. Here's a bonus. Here's maybe 10%. But if you're just, steady market growth, I think it creates the conditions for, people to go, whoa, what's the fastest way to make more money?
Yeah.
And they see it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in today's society, I feel like it is the easiest way to get an increase is job hopping. And it sucks because it's like our parents, maybe not my parent generation per se, but like my parents, they stayed in their jobs because they knew that they would be set for life and then have pensions and be able to retire happily. And they never left because it was about commitment to the company. It wasn't about pay. Mm-hmm. But now it's more so leaning on pay, unfortunately.
Yep. The other thing, maybe it's in addition to that it leans on, in my experience, is the boss. It's kind of like, okay, do I like the nature of the work? Okay, nice, and then coworkers, okay, great. And then my relationship with my boss. And if you don't have that like really good relationship with your boss, then you're going to bounce. That's the other thing. And that's the thing that I think that the rest of the podcast can like really do something about. And like the ideas that we could share could help that boss. So the boss is, not necessarily someone that is known as like the worst boss, but as the best boss. That's what I get excited about, because there's things that they can do that are just super practical, low cost, help them be able to engage and retain their team.
Easily.
Yeah. So like, okay, mistakes that leaders make when trying to recognize others. I would say the biggest mistake is when they're waiting for someone to do something that is out of this world. It's like, I would just start with the basics. And in manufacturing, like even just showing up on time, like that's a good place to start. Like you can't stop there, but it's a good place to start. Because you do need people to be able to be ready to work when they're supposed to be ready to work, not like showing up in the parking lot saying, well, I'm here. And especially when you have, specific rates and hour by hours that you want to hit. And it is going to take some time to walk in and maybe punch in and, maybe put your stuff down and say hello to somebody. But recognizing someone for being punctual, I think is a great place to start. And I get the feedback on this one, like, are you serious? We have to recognize that? And I'd be like, hey, if you're a leader, regardless of your title, and you're not recognizing somebody, that's a great place to start.
Easily, just small behaviors. The way that you said at the beginning, just like the image popped in my head of The Incredibles, the little boy that sits on the scooter and goes, what are you waiting for? I don't know, something amazing, I guess. It's the first thing that popped in my head. But yeah, like starting with small behaviors. It's just as simple as that. Just saying like, hey, good job for being here on time. Especially to those who you see Bob is always 15 minutes late and they never get talked to, but then you get praised for being on time. It's a big deal. Like you go, okay, great. Like they actually notice that I'm on time all the time.
Yeah, that's cool. Good. It's a good thing. The other one is just making it more work. You know, when you get recognized, you're like, oh, it feels good. The dopamine hit. And then, maybe you're like, okay, great. Fill out this form and, go talk to this person. And instead of a 30-minute break, can you make it 20? Because we got to go do this thing in order for you to be recognized in this way. But anything that makes being recognized more work is not worth it. Just like maybe in continuous improvement. Like if improvement feels like it's even more work and not just the work, it's not going to stick. So anything to do with making it more work, no bueno.
I'd also say anything that it makes it about them. Like if you come up to me and you say, hey, I'm so proud of you. Some people take that as, oh, that's really nice. But then some people take that as like, oh, it's about you. Like you're proud that I'm on the team or you're proud that I did something for you. Like did the recognition actually come back to them? Like they got recognized by their boss for something. So they're like, oh, my team did good. I'm proud of them. Not many people take that the same way. From a parent, 100% different.
Yep.
You get very excited when a parent's proud of you because you're just like a child.
Right.
You're so excited.
Yep.
But like a boss that just goes, oh, I'm proud of you. Instead of I'm so proud that you were able to accomplish this, that's a whole different statement.
Yeah.
Just saying, oh, I'm proud of you versus I'm proud that you were able to accomplish this.
Yeah. Otherwise you kind of leave them hanging.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
What did I do? What did I do?
Yeah. And the other thing too, like it's kind of similar to that one, but knowing how people like to be recognized.
Yes.
So some people are like, hey, I'll take the public praise. Some people are like, I actually would not like public praise. That would have the opposite effect on me. And so that's a big one. And that's, I think, super common, but something to know about each team member. Some people would say, gosh, are there things that you could like recognize me with? And so maybe there are some things, maybe there's some things that you can do, but just knowing how each individual on the team likes to be recognized. And if you don't know, like you can always just ask.
It's almost like someone's love language. I don't know if you've ever heard about that.
The 5 love languages.
Yeah. Everyone has that thing. Gift givers, gift receivers, touch, all of that.
Yep.
You have to kind of find that in the same way for this.
Yep.
Because if you don't, and you do bring them onto stage and you go, oh my gosh, they're so great, and they look like they're about to faint, you did not do good. They are probably scarred for the rest of their life and never want to be recognized again.
Acts of service.
Acts of service.
Yeah,
okay. So just doing our job. Got it.
Doesn't take a lot. I remember going through that book years ago and I have revisited it a dozen times. That's a good one. I'm glad you brought that up.
It is. And it works here too. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Just don't do physical touch with a coworker. That's a little HR involved situation. Yeah. But like the other ones, like you kind of got to know what they like versus what they don't like before you just go and tell them that they did a good job.
Yeah, because some people would like the spotlight, some people don't want it.
Some people also like things, some people don't like things.
Yep.
Like feed me and I'm happy.
Yep. Some people would be like, okay, no, wait, I want to write that down. Feed Gabii, should be happy. Some people would be like, hey, a chat is great. And other people would be like, oh, great. Or even some people would be like, oh, a chat in front of the whole team? Cool, I'll take it. You know, but don't drag me out in front of like a big crowd or anything like that.
Yeah, stage fright.
Yeah. What do we do to make sure that it doesn't fall flat?
That was literally one of my follow-up questions.
Oh, yeah?
It was literally, how do you keep it from going stale?
Yeah, that's good. So, I think the big thing here to make sure that it doesn't fall flat is to just have like a target to aim for. And I think the perfect target is like know your company's core values and then know your company's like performance goals. So like every manager should say, okay, great. Our core values are like optimistic attitude and like continuous improvement. Let's challenge the way things have always been done. And then maybe they have like a third one or a fourth or a fifth, right? Like they should know that because that's the center of the target. And they should be looking for that where the work actually gets done, like in manufacturing at the Gemba. But I think that's how you can help it make sure that it's not flat.
just sticking with those. Even like going
It's a
outside
good place
of
to
those.
start.
Yeah. Even going outside of those too. Like sometimes like if they do something above and beyond what one of their core values is, just saying like, hey, good job.
Mm-hmm.
You did this, but like you took it to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Something.
Yeah.
Just different.
Yep. Yeah. The other thing I would add is, in addition to the values, like how you accomplish the work, the milestones of accomplishment along the way. So like every manufacturer has safety, quality, delivery, and cost targets. Like once maybe you have a leading indicator that says, hey, we had a good hour, like you could recognize the hour and be like, hey, we wanted to do 10, we got 10. Like we had a good hour, like good job team. You can literally just take a few moments to say that and then move on. Like maybe there's some attaboys, right? And you get that whole like, Gabii did a great job. And then Gabii says, no, Monica did great. Get that snowball thing going. But after a few moments, then it's like, okay, back to work. But knowing those targets, and then even if you can know those leading indicators, that gives you another thing to aim for so that your recognition doesn't fall flat.
And just doing it at the moment too. Like if you waited until your review or the end of quarter review to say that you did a great job in that moment, you're not going to remember.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really care. That was so long ago. Or if you just said it after it just got done, everyone's energy just raises all over again because we're like, oh my gosh, we did so good. Let's do it again. And then usually production increases.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like hyped and they're like, let's do this. We got this. Times it too.
Yeah, I love it. It's got to be timely. Yeah, otherwise I'd be like, wait, what did we do? Huh? That's from when? So I think just like being intentional with what you're recognizing, why you're recognizing, being timely, and then making it a habit. Like it shouldn't be I did it once and we're done, right? Like, to do, done, or project. Yep, I did the thing. Like I think there should be the thank you cards, the attaboys on an ongoing basis because you're looking to recognize the results and the behaviors and the culture that you're trying to build. And that takes a lot of repetition. Like,
oh yeah.
There's this saying 7 times 7 ways. That's just the start, in my opinion. Like you're recognizing people until you're blue in the face and you think to yourself, aren't they recognized yet? And I'd say that's a milestone for you as the leader that you're off to a good start. Hey, real quick, before we get an answer to this next question, if you're interested in recognition that retains talent and you want to read more about it, subscribe to our How Manufacturers Improve newsletter. It's always action-packed, features insights from industry leaders that you just won't find anywhere else. Don't miss out. Click the link in the show notes to subscribe. It's free, it's actionable, and specifically for leaders in manufacturing that are looking for a better way. If that's you, subscribe today. All right, let's get back into it.
Very much so. That makes me think of a story at my last job. I did a portion of my job that was very small, but also kind of detrimental to the company. I did IFUs, which are those little things that go inside the medical devices. And without those, you can't sell a product. Legally, it's unsellable. So if I didn't get my job done, products didn't sell. It's kind of scary to think about.
Kind of a big deal.
But it's such a small job that nobody ever really thinks about it until you're doing it and you're waiting on it for a $2 million job to get out the door. Well, I did the job. I got it done. Took like 3 months. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm finally done. I'm over it. Signed it off. No one said anything. And I was like, okay, well, I did it. It was my job. Whatever. Don't care. Move forward. At lunch, we had the whole company there to go over our metrics. And I remember that the one manager was like, hey, I just wanted to say that Gabii did this really good job and we wouldn't have been able to sell this product without her. So like, guys, just think about that for a minute. That was like $2 million in sales for the next quarter that was held up until Gabii got it done. And she did it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like somebody actually noticed that I do this? No way. Cool. I loved this. This was a very I was so excited. I was like, no way. They actually said something cool. No one's ever said anything.
How long ago was this?
2 years ago, I think.
So memorable, obviously.
Very memorable.
Yeah.
I even have a picture of it on my phone. I took a grab of my name on the computer that they were presenting with. And I was like, okay, I'm never forgetting this.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. What's one recognition practice that's worked well for you?
Noticing the small things.
Yeah.
Like that, for example, it's the small things that you do every day that become just a standard.
Mm-hmm.
But without those small things,
Mm-hmm.
the job wouldn't get done. So if you just acknowledge that that's standard job and standard work, yeah, we get that. That's what we're being paid for.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still doing it and you're doing it consistently. Just say good job.
Mm-hmm.
You did great.
It's good.
Good at doing your job.
Yeah. My favorite one has been the voicemail technique. And so oftentimes I will get a call from a member and they say, we loved the digital course. That was an awesome webinar. The community group was such a great experience. We've learned so much. Finally, got some airtime to talk about third shift, stuff. And they'll call me and I think to myself, thank you. Like, I appreciate it. It's good to know. It's great to know. But I'll say, would you be willing to call me back? And then I'm not going to pick up. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then leave a voicemail. I'm like, and then if you would, like, even just mention so-and-so's name or so-and-so's name. And I'm like, okay. And so, I don't do it every day or even every week, but periodically. Then I'll take those voicemails and then I'll play it back to the person. It's usually only like 10, 15, 20 seconds. But I think it has the same effect as like you in the audience and someone from, it sounds like the front of the office or, work environment. And they're like, hey, Gabii. It's similar, but it's in a voicemail.
Yeah. And you get to keep it forever. Then you also get to show the person who did the good job. Hey, this is what they said about you versus like word of mouth. It's literally coming from them.
Yep.
From their actual mouth. It's a voicemail. So
I love the voicemail technique. And the other one I like is the thank you card, put something in writing. But here's the thing I would do. And maybe you have to check with HR, but I would send it to their house. Because then it's likely their significant other is going to get it. And it's likely they're going to read it. And then it's likely that they're going to remember it. And it may end up on a fridge or up somewhere, so it's a visual reminder and it helps reinforce the relationship. And it may help when the relationship is rocky because the chips are always down at some point in time or another. It's like, people in teams, they just go through rough patches. But you'll remember the card when you go through the rough patch together. That's why I like the cards. I know you can't always send stuff home, so check with HR, but just do it.
It's actually really funny you said that because I actually got a card from one of my old bosses from when I bought my house. She wasn't with the company anymore. She got let go before I had bought my house, but she had sent me something a long time ago for work. And she had saved my address. And when I had bought the house, she had sent me a gift and a card saying how much she missed me and that like I can go to the stars or some comment like that. Yeah. And I was like, and I loved it so much that it literally sits on my fridge. Like it's been there since April.
That's
and
awesome.
It probably will live there until like something else or it falls.
The other thing that's been kind of fun for at least us, the last couple of years, and this is maybe indicative of our small, quirky company culture. But a couple years ago, I instituted the We'd Be Screwed Without You award.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people would say, Kirby, there's a lot of problems with that approach, but I like it.
Hey, it works.
Yeah. And so, it worked for a number of reasons. Like, one, it wasn't me just voting, and someone would say like, oh, he or she's his favorite. Like I did not vote. It was peer-to-peer recognition and it was a couple of votes. So, there was some opportunity to pick more than one person and whoever got the most votes wins. It was blind. So you don't know who voted for who. So there's no like clicky thing going on. And the trophy that they actually won was actually super cheap off of Amazon, like $10. Like it's not about the trophy, even though I added extra frills to it, like these little red, white, and blue frilly things. It wasn't about that. Or even the picture, as a team or with me afterwards, even though it was kind of fun. It was just the fact that their peers recognized their contribution to the team. That was worth it. The other side benefit is that I also then know like, hey, where should I go and focus? Because if they leave, there's more risk there. So there's kind of a dual benefit. Some recognition from peers. And then as the boss, you're like, oh, but if they do leave.
We are actually screwed. Okay, now is everything written? Do we have processes? Do we have backups? Okay, we're good. Right. We're good. Don't leave. But like, we're good.
Now we celebrate again now that we got all that done.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
What else?
those are kind of the big ones. Like for me, the voicemail, the car, the we'd be screwed without you. The only other thing that I've done that's worked really well, and this is really just to make it more of a habit, is the whole like put a quarter in your pocket one day at the beginning of the day, and you can't move it to your other pocket till the end of the day when you've recognized someone. It just has helped me make it a habit. I used to do it with pennies, but they don't make pennies anymore. So I do it with quarters.
Do you actually do it still?
I haven't.
If you reach in a pocket right now, do you have a quarter?
I haven't done it in months. I haven't done it yet in 2026. Here we are recording this Q1. So,
well, now that's just a challenge for yourself to start doing it again.
Noted. Okay, what's the best way for a leader to get started right? A lot of people say, well, what should I actually say? Right? Like a lot of people work in manufacturing because they like to make stuff. They're good with their hands. They're not necessarily, good with talking.
Or people.
Yeah, the linguistics or the people. So like, here's a basic framework that I would share. I'll share mine, and if you got anything, share it. And we can kind of wrap with these few things. And I have to give credit because I got this from someone in one of our HR community groups, and I stole it and I've used it, and it's been great for a long time now. But it's this: when you, I feel, because. Just remember those three parts. When you, I feel, I felt. And then here's why. That's the because. When you clean up your workstation at the end of the shift, I'm so grateful because then when Gabii comes in at the beginning of the next shift, she feels a sense of pride with her work area because of what you did. And she'll reciprocate to the next person, and the process and the cycle like continues. And so when you, I felt, or I feel, because. If you don't know what to say, write that down, fill in the blanks, take just a couple minutes to do that, and then go talk to someone and use it. I think it's a great place to start.
Just starting small in general is a good place to start. Because if you try to make it too big, then it just becomes a whole task for a whole department to have to try to figure out or manage gifts and all of this stuff to recognize people. Just start small. Make a habit like that. And just go with it every day. Oh, you showed up on time. Oh, you came back from lunch on time. Hey, you cleaned up your station. Just a habit per employee. That's special for that employee, not just a general, everyone showed up on time. Say that to everyone.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier. Yeah,
no one will feel special. But like if you notice that small things from each individual person has a habit, but they do it perfectly every single time, acknowledge it. Just say, hey, good job. You did it.
Yeah. You did it. It's not that hard. You can do it.
I just want to sing Dora's intro song. You did it. Tellissimo. My brain is everywhere right now.
That's awesome. Okay. So I think that's a great place to get started. Usually I'll get asked this because I've given like this in the form of a talk, probably half dozen times now. And usually one of the FAQs I get is, okay, Kirby, but what if I start recognizing someone and I make it a habit and it's meaningful and it's timely and it's specific and the whole framework thing and all the stuff. And they come back to me and they're like, that's great, Gabii, but now I want more money. And so there's this fear of, they think they're doing a good job. They are doing a good job. They're recognized. They want to stick with the team. That's the goal. And now they want more money. And you may or may not be able to actually fund their pay increase. Back to like maybe we were talking about at the top of the podcast. Like you want to be able to keep people as long as you can. If you don't provide the opportunity, and that may come in the form of finances, you're right back to where you started. And so I think the thought with this one is that you got to say, hey, thank you for asking. I'm happy to talk about how you can earn more if they're actually serious. Half the time when they say this, that I've heard anyway, they're kind of just giving you a jab and it's kind of like not even that serious. And so I think you got to kind of recognize that like, yeah, I get it. We all want more money. But if they're actually serious, and maybe you have to ask them like, hey, if you're actually serious, then yeah, let's talk about it. And just acknowledge like you are doing a good job. We may or may not be able to fund a raise. And then if you know what the standard is to review compensation, share what that standard is. It's this date or this week. And don't worry, we've got you there. And these are the things you can do to earn. And I think you're on track, or I think you're off track to earn a raise, and just be open about it. So I think that's the best way to respond to the, now I want more money.
Yeah, I'd say compensation is a way to keep people from leaving but recognition is the way that you want to stay. Like if I'm not recognized and I feel invisible and nobody really notices, I'm going to leave. Yeah, money usually plays into it, but like if I'm not making that much money, but everyone says that I'm doing such a good job and I feel like I'm really doing something for this company, I'll stay because it makes me feel good to be here. Now, if you're not being recognized and the pay is horrible, that's literally like a walk out the door. Like, okay, bye. I'll hold the door open for you. I did this myself. But even if you give somebody more money in that instance, they're not going to stay just because they don't feel appreciated.
Right.
So no matter how much money you toss at me, I'm still walking out the door because you showed me how little you think about me and how little you care about my position. I'm leaving. So if you look at it that way, yes, you could say like, okay, so Joe wants more money. Let's talk about it. What could we do to increase productivity or something to incentivize this pay increase? But then also like, they don't usually ask unless they feel like something else is going on in the company that they're like, okay, well, I'm doing all of this, but I'm not getting paid for this. No one's recognizing that I'm doing all this.
Right.
I want something. Right. But everyone leans towards pay because it's usually the easiest thing to ask for.
Yep.
Then going, hey, boss, can I have a pat on the head because I did good?
That's a really good point.
Because like, I'm not going to go up to you and be like, Kirby, I did great. Can I have like a pat on the back? Like I did great.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask for more money because it's the easiest thing I can do.
Yeah, that's such a great call out. That might be like the best call out of the whole podcast because they didn't necessarily go to school for leadership. You know, leaders should know this, everything that we've talked about. Shouldn't be, totally earth shattering, maybe a couple of nuggets here and there, but they usually didn't go to school for leadership to be able to know how to recognize someone. Yeah, I just really like what you said. There was this guy, Rich. He was the head of a Woody, as I like to call him, a wood manufacturing company, a small company. I think they had like less than 300 employees. And he told me one time, he's like, yeah, we had kind of a rough year. And so we couldn't give raises. And he's like, I thought about the psychic income, though, that we could give people. Like, what is it that we can give them, even though it doesn't hit them in the back pocket? And he's like, psychic income is something that you can give someone. We could give them skills, and so if they want to try something new, try something new. And then when they're good at it, we can recognize the skills that they've developed. And I always thought that was a good way to think about it. That psychic income, even though you may not be able to give the bonuses, give the raises as much as you would like, you've got that. You've got the recognition for a job well done. And be sincere and specific about it.
Also just kind of informing employees too. Like instead of just saying, oh no, we can't give you a raise right now, honestly just tell them, it's not in our budget right now. We do have you written down for something. We acknowledge that you're doing all of this, going above and beyond. You are literally first in line for the next raise when we start doing well again.
Yep.
Because if you keep them blind, they're just going to assume that they don't care and they're just going to leave because they think that your position isn't worth the more money. They're just going to go, okay, well, I'll go look somewhere else.
Right.
If you're honest with them, they're less likely to leave because they're like, oh, okay, we actually can't afford it right now.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah, that's a good point. All great points. Well, this has been a ton of fun to talk to you about recognition. That's so good. It'll help you retain talent. I think we went longer than normal, and I think that is because that I absolutely love this topic. And there's just so many stories and so many things to share around it as we all get better. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Kirby Sneen with the Manufacturers Alliance, and this is the How Manufacturers Improve podcast. If you like learning these high-level best practices from experienced peers, and you want your team to be able to connect with people they can trust, see what's possible, and develop new lean and leadership skills when it works for them, go to mfrall.com or just click the link in the show notes. Thanks for listening.